Hey guys, for this month, while we're not meeting in our normal digital youth group space, I wanted to focus a little bit on our time with God. One of my favorite authors, Eugene Peterson, calls every spiritual discipline an act of prayer. What do I mean by spiritual discipline? For those of you who have been in the youth group for some time, you'll know that spiritual discipline is a word that we talk about. Basically, how do we spend time with God? My friend Jerome calls it spiritual practice, so I don't know, maybe the word discipline it connotes a little bit too much rigor, but it does take some effort. That's what that is meant to convey. But the word spiritual practice perhaps is even better suited. It's something we can get better at, attuning our hearts and minds toward God. He also uses a phrase called conscious Godward movement. And that's a big phrase. What can we do to attempt to approach God? All of those efforts to approach God we can rightfully call prayer. So this version of prayer that I'm going to guide you through is from a guy named Richard Foster, who wrote a book called Celebration of Discipline, which talks about 12 different things we can do in our lifestyle to pray. And one of them is meditation. So this is a guided meditation, and I hope you find it helpful. And it's very simple. And if that word meditation freaks you out, please don't let it. We're trying to approach God in prayer through contemplation. It's what we're doing up here to help this thing focus on God. If you join me, we're actually going to do something that helps us focus with our body posture. Yes. So maybe you guys pray with your hands folded. Maybe you pray on your knees. Maybe you pray while you're taking a walk and adoring God through the created world. But today, I'm going to ask you to pray seated, and we're going to use our hands to help guide our hearts in prayer to God. This is called a hands down, hands up meditation. For the first part, I want you to place your hands, stretch them, and you're going to place them down on your knees, and you can keep them open. And what I want you to think about, I want you to close your eyes and think about all the things that you need to put down. So if it helps to visualize it, imagine approaching the throne of God, and you're carrying too many things in your hands. And to spend time with God, you'll need to put some of those things down. So what are you holding? Am I holding on to shame? Am I holding on to doubt? Am I holding on to fear? Maybe I'm holding on to sin. Whatever you're holding on to that's keeping you from paying attention to God, I want you to imagine letting it go with your palms down. God, may I put down all the things that keep me from being with you as I approach you today. Is it pride? Is it anger? Is it distraction? Is it frustration? Is it a false view of myself? A false view of you? God, may we put down the things that keep us from receiving. And guys, the next part of this meditation is to turn our palms up. So when we come to God empty-handed, we're actually coming ready to receive. And it's important to put down the things that are keeping us from receiving before we ask God for something. But in this next part of this guided meditative prayer, I want you to ask God for what you need. God is a good Father, and He doesn't give you things you don't need. He knows what you need even more than you do. And so would you turn your palms and open your hands? Would you ask God to give you what you need to receive? God, I pray that you would give me peace, that you would give me confidence, that you would give me hope, that you would give me love for you, love for myself, love for my neighbor. God, would you give me boldness that I would approach the world around me in faith? Would you give me the courage to be like Christ? Would you give me the heart that would love and sacrifice myself before others? God, whatever I need, would you give it to me? Would you let me receive it? Guys, whatever you need from God, whatever you want to hear from Him, you may not feel like you receive it in this moment, and that's okay. It's part of spiritual practice. But opening our hands symbolizes the opening of our hearts to receive from God what we need to receive from Him. So don't be afraid to ask. Do you need encouragement? Do you need to know that you're loved? Do you need something to do? Do you need a way to live out your faith this summer? Do you need one of the fruits of the Spirit? Do you need patience or kindness or self-control? Don't be afraid to ask God for what you need. I hope this has been helpful. It's a real simple way to remind ourselves that before we ask God for something, maybe we need to empty ourselves first. I'll be making more of these short prayer videos over the course of this month as we await our time in the book of Amos together when we reconvene in August. Do you guys have any questions about prayer, or you're having trouble praying, or you don't exactly know what to pray for? Let's continue to talk to one another. Talk to our volunteer team. Talk to we who are involved in your life. Talk to your parents. We're here to learn together what it's like to follow Jesus in a life of prayer.